Hello. Can anyone recognize this tune? Anyone? Hello, Becky, Nancy, Heidi, Sharebear. Anyone? Prizes for anyone who can guess this tune. Look, let me show you some of the video. Okay, you know what? I'm getting a little bored of that. That wasn't as cool as I was hoping. That was supposed to be Taylor Swift's Shake It Off. And, we're trying to shake off the blues a little bit through this pandemic that we're all enforced. We're all affected if we're not affected. You know what I'm trying to say, folks? But anyway, she's already here. Our special guest for the night's in the chat. So there's no surprising. She was on the thumbnail, and she was very honoured to know that that's the most time I've put into any one single thumbnail, or probably into any more productions of my video. No more effort has been put into that single thumbnail that presented tonight's show. So I'm sorry, I'm a little bit disappointed with that. I thought that was going to be a little bit more upbeat Hammondy organ, but it's more like kind of a vicar on his organ, probably trying to impress some of the younger kids while he's trying to convert them to Christianity and going to Sunday school and stuff. But anyway, folks, welcome. It is Wednesday night, and it's officially a week into this crazy pandemic days that we find ourselves in, forced quarantines. We've got, my goodness, we just jumped up to 13 folks almost instantaneously, so that's a pretty good number for this early on. So Annie, my sweet, we will welcome you, as I'm sure you've been seeing a few hellos already. We do get a few stragglers and latecomers, and there's even a secret little group that we believe have a chat room on WhatsApp. Sorry, I thought something popped up. I thought I had a notification, but you know what it was? It was the pandemic panty pad that kind of caught my eye on the screen through the camera. I thought it was a notification for low battery or something. What was I talking about? I lost my train of thought then. Never mind, it'll come back to me. One of you will remind me. Sorry, it's been one of those days. Oh look, let me show you what I did to this today. I did a little bit of detailing. Now Trip will get this turd, and I also put like a TSP TV on the bottom, but I customized him a little bit, put some texture and give him some crazy eyes and teeth. So he's made him a little bit special. They're one of a kind turds. Somebody please help me out. Oh, that was right. The secret little crew on WhatsApp when we were talking about them. So yeah, Annie, there was a little secret TSP following group of fangirls that kind of sit around and pretend that they turn up late, and they kind of like to make an entrance, I guess. This is just my conspiracy theory anyway, but it does take a little long. 16 folks. My goodness, we are doing well. Who else have we got here who's showing up in the chat? So it does seem to be all the girls so far. We haven't got any single boys, have we? Annie, when you do comment again, sweetheart. Oh, actually, I can't do it on that phone. Hold on a sec. I did it again. I saw the thing out of the corner of my eye. I thought it was a notification. That's going to be a little bit trippy this evening. Hold on a second. I've got to go to my other phone. Let's turn the volume right down for now. So it's been a bit of an interesting day. I've been out and about downtown. I don't know if some of you have watched the video I put up. Hey, J-Mad, glad to see that there's lots more people in here than I thought. California Ninja Prepper. I don't know, one phone's showing hardly anybody. Never mind. No, that's North LA Music. So there's a whole bunch of you, see? So I've got two phones. This one's saying that there's nothing going on, but this one's up to date. So Andro Nova's here, ATN's here, Nance's here, Eternity's here. My goodness, I didn't realize. Annie, let me do what I was going to do. So sweetheart, as you're a returner, we popped your TSP cherry a little while ago. You notice there are a lot of wenches in the in the chat tonight. We're going to make you an honorary wench, so prepare to be wenched. Awesome. So we've got Meanie Beavers here. I'm glad you're here, Meanie Beavers, because you've got some very interesting stuff to tell us, perhaps, in the live chat. But we'll put that on hold for now. And Kelly Kibo, ATN. So we have got some good faces and good folks in the crowd. So yeah, I did go out and about and do a little bit of a walkabout in downtown Toronto today, and it was very, very surreal, to be quite honest with you. There's usually there's the seed. I've got to save that for Danielle. Sorry, but usually, you know, with most big cities in Toronto, there's a very, very large city, but there's always a hustle and bustle, and there's kind of a soundtrack in the background of cars and, you know, maybe roadworks and pedestrians, and you know what I'm talking about. But when I got off the streetcar in the heart of downtown, just before I started making my video, it was just so quiet. It was very, 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 like I said, surreal. It was almost like being in a movie, and kind of we are almost living in a reality that is very similar to fiction. And a little bit why we have Annie with us this evening is because she is a fictional author. You've wrote a few fictional books, so please forgive me, I haven't read one yet, and that's partly because I am a busy boy in the kitchen, full-time job as a chef most times, and in the part-time that I do have off, I entertain the troops here at the thrift store. Love them. They come back week after week and hang out here, and that's a little bit what we do here, Annie, since last time you've been in. But you can tell us what you've been up to since last you visited the thrift store when we get you on the line. But back to today, walking around downtown. Sorry, I did actually mean to say that the first part of the video is a little bit shaky. I don't know why, for some reason. I think maybe I got it lodged in my bag and it was causing some vibration, but skip past it, and it does kind of get a little bit better. But I am just using a selfie stick and stuff, you know. Ship video productions is how I operate. We don't do editing on stuff like that. We haven't got really much more than a phone and a selfie stick, good intentions. But anyway, it was very, very surreal. Watch the video for yourself. There are two parts. Quite a cool time, actually. I enjoyed myself, got out, got some exercise, actually got up before noon for the first time in a long time. So Annie's in saying thanks for the welcome. Hey, we've got End Times in there as well. He's got 160 cases. It is rapidly spreading. Whether it is spreading or whether that's all part of the script, I don't know. We're going to try and keep it as light-hearted as we can and try and be a little bit distractory from all that is worrying and concerning most people. But we are in some very, very strange days, and whether or not our lives are going to be the same again, who knows. I'm hearing they're talking about maybe even having to introduce the Emergency Act here in Canada, which is essentially martial law. But we're going to try to have fun. Now, something had Annie told me a little bit foreknowledge, and instead of like 10 minutes before we went on that she was still in her pajamas, we could have had a pajama party. So I'm going to give you a little treat, ladies, and show you my lap. There you go. I put my pajamas in, and I've also got my Chewbacca slippers. So it's kind of a pajama party. I'm pretty sure some of you may also be in your pajamas. I'm looking at you, Eternity 751. I can see you in big fluffy bunny slippers and PJs, maybe a onesie even. Anyway, I'm prepped well, but in an apartment in a congested city. Yeah, you know, I'm in a congested city also, though not in an apartment block, but I am in a basement. There are other people. All right, Becky's in her PJs, Nancy's in her PJs, so it is kind of an impromptu pajama party nonetheless. Anyway, guys, before we do go on and we get Annie on the line, because I'm sure some of you are dying to hear what she says. You get sick and tired of listening to me, I'm sure. But I got a little funny story to tell you that, okay, I don't really know how to start off. Andro Nova, I just took off my pants. That's the spirit, buddy. So you're in good company, Annie. Everyone's in their pajamas, and Andro Nova is pantsless. Meanie Beavers in PJs. So we are all in our PJs. A little like yesterday when all the mods were in the shower together, not at the same time. But anyway, guys, so listen, this is I'm a little bit I've had a bit of a mishap, should we say. I'm not going to say accident, because you're going to start worrying and stuff like that. It wasn't really an accident. I haven't been involved in explosion or hit by a bus. Those are things that have actually really happened to me, but today nothing as severe as that. I didn't actually lose any blood, limbs, or there are no projectile foreign bodies now in my body, you should be glad to hear. However, I finished up recording the second part of the video outside of my subway station. Now here in Toronto, they kind of have a little bit of a, on the streetcar, an honour system. You can pay or not pay, and they expect you to pay, but most times, and lots of people don't pay to use a streetcar, but still on the subways you have to pay. And a lot of stations now, a lot of the smaller ones, not the bigger sort of hub stations, but a lot of the sort of minor stations on the subway route now don't have tellers. You kind of have to use a card, a Presto system they call it. And they don't take coins, and in order to get a card you have to pay $6 just to get the card, and then put money on the card and keep topping up to use to tap each and every time you use a public transportation here called a TTC, be it bus, subway or streetcar. But lucky enough I can kind of hop on and off the streetcar as much as I can and ride it for free. But I wanted to get home. I've been doing quite a lot of walking. It's getting a little bit tired. Did a couple of miles, I think, probably even maybe 3.5 mile walk perhaps, but covered a lot of ground, showed you a lot of sights of Toronto, so please do watch that video. But anyway, I got to the subway station and I didn't have enough money in change to put in the machine to buy a card. I don't know why I was going to buy one. They didn't take singular, you couldn't just pay for a single ride or anything, but they've got these gates which kind of are like this, and when you kind of tap they open, right? You tap your card, they open. So anyway, I've told you many times before, I am a little bit of a skinny fucker. So I thought, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm just going to squeeze through the gap. So I kind of squeezed through and they kind of opened a little bit. Now, maybe I can use Binocular Boy is some kind of visual guide. So I'm kind of squeezing through like this. And as I kind of turn, imagine that's the gate, as I kind of turn there, somehow my junk got sort of stuck between my leg and the top of my thigh and the gate. And as I kind of pushed the gate open with my thigh to squeeze through, it squished my testicle. I'm not going to lie, I did almost squeal a little bit, and there was a little bit of it. And boys, you know, if we've got any boys in the audience, I think we do, that pain. So I kind of squished my testicle as I was pushing through. Lucky enough, there was nobody, absolutely nobody on the streets or in this particular subway station to actually see the squished testicle incident, but sort of as I sort of pushed through, the train kind of literally pulled up on the platform, and I kind of hobbled down the stairs and onto the platform and through the door. But there were a few folks on the train. It wasn't as many there should be at that time of day. Certainly in the heart of downtown, by that time of day, usually people are coming in and out of work. But you know what it's like, boys, when you kind of hurt yourself down there, the natural reaction is just to want to hold it, lean over, crying, and hope that the world like swallows you whole. And you know, unlike childbirth, you can't get an epidural for testicular pain after the fact. You know, if you know prior to the knowledge, maybe you could med yourself up, but unfortunately I squished my testicle, and I'm not gonna lie, I think it's a little bit swollen and it still hurts now. Yeah, Becky's saying put some ice on it. Perhaps I should at some point, but it is a little bit painful and it is a little bit tender down there. I don't know if there's any like laughs or giggles or sympathy for me. But yeah, I thought that would be a little bit of a funny story to lighten the mood. I'm trying to read comments and talk at the same time, and there's a little bit of a glare. Sings a lot. How are you doing, darling? Did you just arrive? I'm so glad to see here. The boys took one for you. But yeah, I don't know. Sympathy and guilt. I would laugh if it happened to somebody else, and it was just one of those things that kind of could only sort of happen to me. So yeah, no offers to rub it better for me. I noticed just put some frozen peas on it, so thanks ladies. And actually I don't want offers to rub it better, but we are all in our PJs. Annie, have you got yourself a stiff drink? If you had the last cigarette, we'll try and get you on the line. I need some water. I did speed smoke a little bit outside, and funny enough, just before we went on air, some fire engines pulled up rather rapidly, lights ablaze, and I thought, oh my goodness, real life drama. Maybe they've come to evacuate patient X. They found who made the COVID virus, and we're going to drag him out with hazmat suits. But looks like a false alarm. They've all gone now. I was going to go out and show you some men in uniform. So we do have a few boys here, but we are in our pajamas. We could have even had it ladies' night tonight. But anyway, it has been a week since we watched Mr. Trump announce that we are under a global pandemic, and in the last couple of days, we've tried to sort of bring it as light-hearted and fun and try and distract it. And I think that's what Annie's trying to do a little bit from what I can follow on her Facebook feed. I'm actually getting a little bit nervous. I'm almost trying to delay the phone call now, and I'm starting to sweat as well as having a throbbing testy. So please, this is a little bit nervous, and sometimes when I get nervous, I need to pee a lot. And with a hurt testy, that's no fun. Who got kicked out? Eternity, you did? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm hydrating and wetting my mouth. Let me try and see if this works. Annie, actually, let me go back to the comments. Are you ready, my darling? Let's see if we can get you on the phone. Well, it's ringing. That's a good sign. Hello.
Hello.
Oh my goodness, there you are. I could hear myself almost, but I couldn't hear you. Annie, welcome back to the thrift store.
I'm here.
Can you hear me okay?
I'm laughing, not laughing.
Yeah,
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, I'm just going to see if the guys watching can hear you. Can you hear Nancy okay, guys? I'm going to try and do something, actually, because I'm going to get a sore wrist. I'm going to put you on my selfie stick. My other selfie stick. There we go. Then I haven't got a hold of the phone. So hopefully that's going to work fine. And maybe I can bend you down closer to the mic. And there's already a sexual innuendo to be had there right away. She's giggling already. She's our kind of people, folks. So sorry, we might get a little bit inappropriate. So welcome back. Last time you were on, you actually, where's Jasper? He took quite the shine to you, Annie. But he's probably 3 bottles into a 6-pack already. We do need some drunken Jasper in our life.
Wait. Who did?
Sorry, Jasper. He was one of the guys in the chat last time you were on. I don't
Jasper.
know if
Yes.
He took quite a shine to you, and then I think when you mentioned guns, he would have been your little puppy dog on a string. You could have taken him on all your little adventures. But he's not around. Maybe here.
That's how I like my men.
I'm sure you do. You're a very strong-willed woman, kind of like a real-life Lara Croft in many ways. But anyway, last time you did have a little bit of an impression, and I think we touched base, and some of my people have become some of your people, and I think almost vice versa. So, Annie, what have you been up to since then?
Yes. I have no freaking clue what I've done since the last time I've seen you. But
that's awesome.
Things, if we can start. Shout out to all the people in their pajamas today. Yay.
I know, awesome.
That's the way it should be.
And why not? It's a time.
And about your testicle.
Oh, sorry.
About your testicle. If you don't have pictures, it didn't happen.
I know.
I requested that before we got on this show, and you shot me down. So suck it up, Buttercup.
Okay, I will. I wish I could.
See.
Apparently, Prince was able to do that. He had a rib removed. I don't know if that's true or an urban myth, but back to you.
Well, you're gonna throw that stuff out there. You better have photos to back it up with.
Okie doke. I know what you're saying.
Laughing, but not laughing about your story. So.
I know. Well, that's a little bit.
Kisses for the boo-boo.
Wow, my goodness, that's the best offer I've had in a long time. It was in English, and that I could afford. Anyway, so inappropriate humor is what we're a little bit about, not all the time, but you do seem to embrace it, Annie. So you don't know what you've been up to, but you had a couple of things, so we'll let you get a little bit serious and have the microphone, and I won't interrupt.
Well, I mean, you did kindly ask me to come back and we're going to discuss some things out in the big world tonight, because there's a lot of people freaking out.
Exactly.
And concerned and, all of that. So we're here to just say, hey, Here's our take on it. This is our thought process, and you can agree with us, disagree with us, whatever. But bottom line is, we're all in this together, and the more information that we can share,
Exactly.
we can find out what the real truth is. And we hate to find the truth at the hindsight part. So the faster we can figure out kind of what's going on and adjust accordingly, the more of us can survive what's coming.
Yeah, I agree.
Unfortunately, a lot of people around the world right now have not.
No, I mean, I was going to say it's like something out of one of your fiction novels, for real, right?
We were talking about that. Several of us writers were discussing that, and even we would agree that we could not write this weirdness. I'll take it with the prepper movement, how we make fun of when we have blizzards and stuff. We need to go get the toilet paper and the milk and the eggs and the bread. But I guess people listen. Maybe a little bit more than we thought.
I know.
So for a little minute there, I'm taking personal blame for maybe we shouldn't have, said that so much. But then we find out that a lot of the shortages are coming on the side of capitalism. You can agree with capitalism, socialism, all you want, which way ever you want to, but we need a little bit of both and come down the middle of the line, because what we saw were people trying to take advantage of the situation.
Indeed.
Going out and buying just truckloads from state. Some of these people were traveling from state to state to purchase toilet paper and hand sanitizer. What they do is they sit around on Amazon and they see what's trending, and then they go purchase as much of it as they can, driving from state to state. And then they jack up the prices. And we had a gentleman here that ended up with over 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer, and he couldn't get rid of it because Amazon's shutting down.
Wow.
So you live and learn.
Yeah, it has been crying. It's like sort of in the last week, almost everybody's become a prepper. And once upon a time, preppers were people, those crazy conspiracy theorist prepper types with their tinfoil hats and their MREs and stuff. But now all of a sudden, we're the most sane people on the planet. But quite rightly so, that we've been saying a little bit on this channel that there's been a lot of profits for somebody to have been had during this outcry, because grocery shoppings are, grocery stores around the nation and around the world, the shelves are empty. And, when you higher up the chain, who these profits are all going into probably the same pockets. But it's kind of crazy. And I'm pretty sure you're a little bit out in the countryside, but you're close to a city, if I can remember.
I'm buried right now deep in the woods outside of Indianapolis. I'm about an hour and a half away from Indy.
Okay, so I mean you're far enough away to sort of be out of the hustle and bustle, but if need be, it's not that far away to get back to kind of civilized. So I'm a little bit envious. As I said, we're in a huge city, and Toronto is one of the largest city. If this is an actual virus and it does break out and is as deadly as they're trying to make it out to be, then probably one of the worst places you could possibly be. But as I said, you're out there in your little country. So back to you. It's all yours. You're our guest presenter, host type person this evening.
Well, what rabbit path or rabbit trail would you like to go down? I mean, it's your choice. So, let's talk about what we're seeing with the coronavirus, what thought processes are, what we can do, possibly what we're seeing coming down the road. We can go anywhere you want.
I know we've got many things. Just to go back to something you were saying actually earlier about being the eyes and the ears, and the more people that are seeing and reporting what they, is going on in their neck of the woods, then you do get a bit more of an honest and truthful experience. And I hashtagged yesterday's live feed. We are in this together, and this is the first time that the globe has faced anything like this. There's been psyops and false flags and terrorist attacks and all sorts of things in the past, but it's always kind of been targeted at either one specific city or nation using another ideology as the enemy. But this is something that has no xenophobia. It's something that kind of is uniting the globe together, and this is what's worrying me, that maybe this is going to become a global event and the catalyst towards a global government, should we say. But anyway, anything goes kind of tonight. Any thoughts in ideas or theories we can bounce around?
I kind of am on the same page that you are. This is a global event at this point in time. I don't think there's any one country that is immune to it. I know for a while we were waiting on our state here in West Virginia to catch up because they were the only one that didn't have a case of it. But the reason for that is because of the lack of medical care in the state, and because they didn't have the ability to test. And that's the same thing we're seeing now. A lot of these cases that we're seeing around the world, in Canada and in the United States, these numbers are realistically a lot higher than what they're feeding us. And so we haven't, we really, in my opinion, have no clue what's going on.
And
we're not getting intel out of China anymore about how they're returning to normal, other than they're returning to normal, and I'm air quoting that. You guys can't see me doing that.
yeah, I'm doing it for you.
I mean, I look at it this way. I see people out there that are spreading nothing but fear. I see people out there that are shitting on the government and the efforts that they're doing. I see people that are 100% behind the government. I see, oh, this isn't real. It's, they're doing this to, control us and all of that. We don't really know. And I'm not sure we will ever know.
No, that's one of the things we don't really have.
My take on it is, we're going to take as much information as we can gather from all across the world. And we're going to cook it like spaghetti. And when we think we've got an idea, we're going to throw it on the wall and see what sticks and makes sense.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to put all the pieces together.
Yes, you do, because we're not going to get the truth from any one source of the media whatsoever.
No, for sure.
We have, my site is prepperchicks.world for a reason. We have people all over the globe, people on the ground that we can get actual information from. And that's where I kind of lean towards. Now, we get information, they'll say, hey, this is going on, and then I'll look for something in the news that backs it up, and that's a lot of the stuff that I will share to try and wake people up to what's going on. And then, we dump in a lot of free information on this is what you can do to be able to prepare ahead of time to make sure that you're not one of the casualties, let's say.
Yeah.
But we've been tracking this coronavirus, we got heads up on it back in December. So.
Yeah, for sure. We had.
That's why I'm sitting at home in my pajamas right now.
Out in the middle of the woods. That sounds so idyllic. I bet if we could all get there, we would love to sit it out with you. But that is one kind of, we're trying to look at positives for humanity here. That some of these people that are watching out there tonight, they have families, and all of a sudden, they don't have work to go to. Maybe it is going to be a struggle, but all of a sudden they kind of are spending time with their families. They're finding things to do. They're spending more time as a family instead of like 5 minutes with mum at breakfast, 10 minutes with dad when he comes back after his double shift. And, let's try and a little bit like the Blitz spirit. I keep saying during the war when the Germans were bombing London, they used to go down into the subway or the underground as it's called in London, and they'd take the piano down there and make sandwiches and whatever little rations they had, they kind of spread it around, and they'd sing and dance until the Germans run out of bombs, and then they'd go up and pick the pieces up. But yeah, we are all in this together, and the more eyes that are seeing it, in saying something, they said, if you see something, say something. That was the Patriot Act kind of Homeland Security thing just after 9/11, and I don't think we've really seen an event. I mean, there have been events, but since then, but although it was primarily in New York, 9/11 was a global event. Everybody in the world kind of tuned in and watched that, but there was two sides of a fence involved. But this thing is being very, very, as you mentioned, like the fear mongering and kind of how social media in mainstream media seems to be kind of reading from the same script in some of these things that are going viral on our Facebook and Twitter and stuff like this. I believe is kind of fueling more panic than possibly we should be having. Is it overreaction, or is this, you said about we're never going to find out the honesty. We're never going to really find out the truth about 9/11. Now, if you think the government had any slight involvement in that event, what makes you think in this event they would also have any good intentions for us, or are they serving the plan and the plot of their leaders and the guys that really are pulling the strings? But we're never going to know, and that's, I think, something what we've kind of started to try and do on this channel is be, you know what, guys, we don't know, we're worried, we're concerned, but we're in it together. Let's just try and throw off and have a little good time. So on a fiction, you said you've spoken to a few writers like this, and it'd be kind of interesting, like you said, you truth is sometimes stranger than fiction, but this is something that you go back to movies like Outbreak, Stephen King's The Stand. There was one pretty recent called Contagion. It's like, the predictive programming has never been more evident than all of a sudden it is now. And, going back to The Walking Dead, where, within that series, everybody is infected, and it's not until you die that the infection comes to purpose. Is that a little bit case of what's going on now? Are they infecting us all with something? Is this easily transmitted, but not exactly deadly as of yet, but could go more dominant at a later stage, if you see what I'm trying to say? But anyway, let's try and kick that off. Let us know what you think from a fiction standpoint. What would you be doing, or what would your character be doing if this was the realms of fiction and sort of anything was possible?
Well, I think I would be doing exactly what I'm doing now. A lot of us fiction writers like to focus based off of ourselves and our perception and our actions and things like that. What we're seeing, though, besides the toilet paper hysteria, let's set that aside, is we're seeing this thing mutate. And so that's one of the reasons why I don't think we have a full handle on this yet. Not just right now, but further down the road. I just shared on my Facebook wall a report that came out, because I've heard this from two different viewpoints now, which concerns me that the people are getting multiple scenarios to the same thing. This thing came from a reliable source, and they basically said this thing doesn't spread as fast in warmer weather and high humidity, which seems a little odd to me, but considering if you look across a globe where all of the hot spots are, they're pretty much across the 40 line. So That being said, I've also seen it, the flip side of that too. So my thought process is I like to stay 6 months down the road. So yes, we're having this going on right now, and we're dealing with it from a day-to-day standpoint because of what we're dealing with right now. But I want to take that down six months down the road and see, okay, what are the ramifications from this then? Okay, so we're coming into summer. You're not that much further north than I am. So we're talking about this thing quieting down through the summer months. What happens this fall?
Yeah.
Is it going to be like the Spanish flu was back when we had World War I? So are we looking at a potential for a rebirth of this that's going to come back even deadlier, such as that did, which from all accounts ended World War I? So I mean, that's what I'm trying to pay attention to. I've got a grasp on what's happening right now, and I'm trying to look ahead to see where I need to tell my people and my groups and the ones that I feel responsible for and the information I put out there. This isn't over. We need to stay vigilant to this, and we need to pay attention to what's going on. That's why I think it's important right now that we find out. China's saying, hey, we're getting back to normal. But are they? And how does that look over there? And they've kicked out all of the U.S. press corps, so we don't know. And that worries me. So I guess our next round is to pay attention to if we have anyone left in Italy. From what I understand, there was 475 people that died just today. So,
dang.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer.
Yeah, definitely. And as I think I've seen some of your posts, and a little bit of the narrative is probably our lives are never going to be the same again, and affected but not infected as of yet. In many lives, I'm sort of sitting at home now for the next couple of weeks because my restaurant shut down, just like every other restaurant in Toronto, in many cities around. North America and not just here, like say it's global, and it's like kind of carbon copy. And something I did notice a little bit with, you kind of, I can't remember the exact phrase that was used, but a few years ago it went sort of on the social media and the circuits, Facebook and Twitter, has been shared around. The Easter Bunny. It was every single network in the United States and every single anchor of the news program was reading from the same script about it's going to be a tight time. Easter is going to be tight. You remember the Easter Bunnies pulling the purse strings? And it's a little bit like that. I've seen quite a few different articles from around, some from here in Toronto, some from down in the States. And it's very, very similar to that in the fact that they're, hand sanitizer, soap, toilet paper, hand sanitizer, soap, toilet paper, long lines at the store. Sunday I went out and it was just like normal, the grocery stores weren't either an overflow and there's a bit of sunshine, people are out and about. But today it did seem an awful, very, very kind of surreal, just walking around a city that is usually so very, very noisy and alive, certainly in the daytime, maybe not as night. They say Toronto is Canada's New York, but unlike New York that doesn't sleep, Toronto very rarely wakes up. It's kind of like your embarrassing grandmother or aunt at a wedding that dances badly if like New York was the cooler cousin. But anyway, sorry to bash Toronto. It's a little bit of a strange place, but it just seems, like a movie. That's all that you can kind of explain it. It just, no cars on the street, no sound, silent, and even kind of the people that are out and about, they seem very kind of subdued and you can almost, like we're all in this together. You can almost sense.
Shock.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm saying. Everyone's just walking around in a little sense of uncertainty. And it's almost like everyone's all of a sudden has a collective conscience sort of thing that we're almost sharing the same thoughts.
Oh, no.
Or maybe not so much, but in some ways, the same fears and that all of these things are affecting us one way or another. You know what I'm saying? That maybe we're not having the same thoughts or...
Well, yes and no. I've talked about this in the past, and it's something we call normalcy bias. People don't want to wake up to what's really going on. They want to stay in their little bubble. They want to live in their own little world. And when something like this happens, it gives them this shock. And for those of us that live this day in and day out, a lot of us have this switch that we can automatically, push up and go into survival mode because we've been training to do that. And we've taken the sensory part out of that so we can automatically, we know what we're going to do. I hate to say we've been training for that all of our life. Because,
I know.
But we've thought about it. We've put the scenarios out
there.
Yeah,
many
That's
times.
why we write the books that we do. What happens if so and so? But then you've got people that, if you...
Were you just lighting a cigarette?
Wrong way. But, yeah.
Awesome. I
don't smoke.
Oh, I thought it sounded like you were clicking a lighter then. Sorry to interrupt. I just kind of had visions of you with a large brandy glass and a Marlboro. Never mind. When you see in the films, they kind of swish it around, and that lady that's lived her life hard and fast and seen everything and anything sits there and tells you a story. I was kind of expecting that, it was going to be okay. Like when the guys with PTSD from Vietnam, the gooks were 60 deep in the jungle that night. Billy never made it back.
I've smoked one time in my life, and that was for all of 30 seconds.
Oh, my
It's
goodness.
not my thing.
Yeah, okay, I get
I
you.
don't drink coffee either.
Oh, my goodness. Without coffee, nicotine, and THC, I don't think I'd be able to survive or actually maintain a day where somebody doesn't get hurt. Not necessarily me, but anyway, so sorry I did interrupt then. That was a little bit funny, but let's try and get it a little bit funny. What have you been kind of doing with yourself to occupy your time? I mean, you do kind of live out in the woods at the best of times, I'm guessing, but at the moment, are you sort of doing anything to try and make the most of this time or try and catch up on...
Well, writing books, that's always hot on my list of things to do. I have multiple books that I'm in the process of writing, but I also do what I talk about. I do have a little farm here. I have a pig, I have rabbits, I have chickens, I have goats, I have dogs, and all the things that come with that, the good and the bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So that keeps a huge part of my life occupied.
Yeah, and it's giving you a little routine, and for you kind of being out and nothing's really changed for you. I guess you haven't really seen the changes that maybe people like myself and some of the other guys that are in big cities are really kind of seeing.
No.
As I said, I think I'm very, very envious. I wish I was
No,
out.
I decided a couple years ago to get away from that. I did live in Indianapolis. I worked a job where I would travel all over the city. I've been to New York City multiple times, so I'm very familiar with the big town life. But I grew up on a farm, and that's where I wanted to come back to. And my gut was telling me that that's where I needed to come back to. And that's 2 years ago. That's what I did. So
goodness, maybe your spidey sense was
regretted a day of it. Yeah, spidey sense, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it sounds very, very idyllic, and it's very funny because I kind of grew up in a small town back in England. It was surrounded by farm and countryside, and had a mother that kind of posh people lived in the country, like in her eyes, posh people lived in the countryside and kind of commoners lived in the town. And I'm not gonna lie, she's a little bit of a gold digger looking to get a rich country guy with a Land Rover and a thatched cottage. All my lessons I learnt about women were from my mother. But yeah, go girl. Never happened, unfortunately. I might have got some will money and part of a farm, but all being said, like the country kind of drove me crazy, and I longed for like big cities, and part of my lust to travel was to go to larger cities and see the skyscrapers and all the hustle and bustle and stuff like that. And my town was an hour's drive from London, but in terms of, it was like a million miles in terms of culture and architecture and everything. It was like the shortest amount of distance with to be the furthest away from what I was used to, if that makes any sense to you. But since I've been living in North, I spent a lot of time out in LA, although I'd rather be in LA if I had to be in a big city than Toronto, just because no winter. And been in Toronto for so long, I long for the countryside and a little log cabin and a couple of dogs and maybe an owl or a hawk. I don't know. I want to train a bird of prey, do a bit of falconry, perhaps, maybe learn to shoot a bow and arrow. It seems like I'd love that now. In sort of cities, they kind of are a drain on your soul. And when you're in the rat race, they call it a rat race for a reason. You're a rat in that race and you have to survive that race. And sometimes, when a lot of people are in that, you feel and this is what I'm kind of trying to get back to, that there's that sense of shock around the whole city at the moment, whereas it's replaced that rat race kind of sensation and feel. And when you kind of go out, you kind of feel as you're drawn into it, when you have a very vibrant city. I don't know if that sounds or makes any sense or sounds logical at all.
Oh, absolutely. Because I think the older we get, the more we appreciate what's important in life versus when we were younger and we're ready to take on the world, and we're ready. Not that I wouldn't rule the world, because that's still in my goals, and we talked about that the other night.
I was going to say our plans for world domination are on hold due to the COVID. But yeah, carry on.
No, I wouldn't say it's completely on hold. We just have to, we need
do a little tweaking.
We'll be back on track. Yeah,
and it does involve a bear, and
but the Mounties.
Mounties and a bear. Yeah, I was actually advertising this show a little bit yesterday in a live feed, and said that we do have plans for world domination, and some that involve Grand Theft Bear. I was going to keep the Mounties out of it, but
yes.
It also might involve a scenario where Annie has to pretend that she doesn't want to go to prison, and there might be a Mountie involved, and she's almost willing to do anything to avoid jail. But that's for your imaginations, and for Annie and my little whimsical, flirtatious world that we live in when we escape reality for a few moments. And that's, I think, another thing what we need to do a little bit.
Gotta do that. Yeah,
exactly. We've got to kind of step out of the reality of the situation, because it is a very fearful place at the minute, and we try to have this, which is why we opened with a squished testicle story, and I'm kind of trying to get us back off of the sort of scary stuff. But there was some very, very, very informative stuff. It actually almost sounded like a real proper news show talking to you there.
It was.
It did.
It
What did you
did. I
think,
mean,
guys? I'm sorry, I
I
wasn't
got
paying
so much
attention.
pictures in the video.
Maybe I'll treat you one day. Maybe when the Mountie scenario comes to be. So I haven't even been looking at what anyone's been saying in the comments. I'm trying to get back because I'm kind of using the phone that I talked to you to read the comments on, but the other one keeps freezing for some funny reason. But guys, did you enjoy? What do you think about all the things that Annie said? Have you got any questions you'd like to ask her in particular? Look at that, 45 minutes.
I was told not to kill the bear. Trust me, killing the bear was not in the program.
No. We were just going to borrow it. We were going to take it back in the morning. I think we were just going to ride it around. That's probably what would lead us to. That was probably what would lead to the Mounties being involved somewhere along the line. And I think there might be bail money. I've never seen one. Do you know that?
Men in kilts, with big swords.
Men with you kind of. I mean, you do like your realms of fantasy and stuff. I do know, like Stranger Things and some of your old school.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we mentioned that a little bit.
Absolutely.
Before, but no, I've never actually seen a Mountie. In 8 years that I've been in Canada, I've never ever seen one, and they don't even wear that.
Been to the woods?
Yeah, a couple of times. I did a walkabout actually in the pitch black with another YouTuber from Toronto called Crying Hippie last year.
Really?
And yeah, we went. Yeah, we did the murder trail because I lived very close to the Hyde Park here in Toronto, and there was a very strange occurrence a few years back with a guy who was jogging. And a paranormal force attacked him and threw him in a ditch, as well as a couple of people that had been found murdered there. So we went and walked through this in literally the pitch black. You couldn't see your face in front of your hands. So yeah, I have been out in the woods, and that is one thing about Toronto actually. Although it is a large city, it's a forest city, and there is an awful lot of greenery. Like when it's in season at the minute, everything's still dead. But when you kind of do go around, there's always a little parkette or a big park or trees and something to go in. Hyde Park's actually beautiful, and that's where the zoo is, where the bears would be. I think there's a baby one. That would probably be our best bet. They wouldn't be so hostile or aggressive, but they are in captivity, so they're probably a little bit drugged, perhaps.
We're gonna go get a real one. Going to the zoo.
Oh, all right. I kind of felt you're a little bit of an outward, outsidey type gal in that, and so you got a little bit of a farm. Do you? No, that's all right. I meant that in the highest kind of, I can see you straddling a horse and branding a bull. I was going to call it a cock then, but they're not cocks, they're bulls. Like the boy cow. I don't know. I was going to think of cock, but on my head. Anyway.
Well, I actually have 2 cocks here, so yeah, you're pretty spot
on. But did you ever like?
You know what else I have?
What else? Hello, you still there?
I've had for a long time, and it got me kicked out of somewhere. I have a can of Spotted Dick.
A can of Spotted Dick. Oh my God, I actually never used to like Spotted Dick.
Yes.
But you have one. You've got to have it with custard. Yeah. I think now I'm older, I'd probably like it a little bit. As a kid, like raisins.
Yeah, fish sticks and custard. No, my daughter and I, we're huge Doctor Who fans.
Really?
We had gone into a grocery store. Oh, we are such nerds. But we'd gone into a grocery store, and they have like the foreign foods aisle. And we're going down through it and checking everything out. And all of a sudden, we're squealing. And it's like, and we're talking in our awesome, English accent.
Oh, let's hear a little bit of your English accent.
That we're from like Scotland or someplace. But yeah, we were like, oh my God, it's our can of Spotted Dick, and and we were just laughing our asses off. And the manager came over and told us to settle down, or we had to leave.
Really? Wow.
This is how you educate your children.
No, that's quality family time. That's memories right there. When my mother was dragging me around trying to grab herself a rich farmer, I always kind of had those, oh dear mother moments. Really, mother? And I can imagine your daughter would be in a similar kind of, oh, really, mother? But yeah, spotted dick. That is an actual real thing, guys. I should probably. Although I'm not much of a baker. I don't bake much, although I can bake. But maybe I should try and make a spotted dick, because that would go along with our meat sticks and nut. I wish I had some nuts, because I make trail mix, Annie, and I kind of send it out to the ladies and some of the guys in the viewers out there. And I call it my nut sack, and I send it with a Canadian meat stick. I've got a meat stick I can give you. Do you like a spice? I'll give you 2 meat sticks, actually. You look like the sort of girl. Hold on.
Adorable. Can we request what length we want?
Sorry, I had to go and rummage. So these are meat sticks. I don't know if you can see the screen there, but that's what they come with, a nutsack and a meat stick, and I can legitimately say that I have let the ladies and the viewers taste my nutsacks and meat sticks, and I've actually given them babies as well. They get a little plastic baby. So we'll exchange details off air at some point, and I'm going to send you some meat sticks and a little prepper baby. And would you like a turd of your own? Not this one, that's Trips, but I've got another one you can have where I send you a tiny little shit. Okay, so you're a little bit of a nerd in Doctor Who. Who was your favourite Doctor Who? Was it the one with the big scarf, Tom Baker, I'm guessing?
I actually have the big scarf. I had a one for me that I have actually matching gloves with. Gloves that are long enough to move with my elbows. But my favorite is, well, probably Matt Smith. But I like David Tennant too.
Are those the newer ones? I don't know.
Probably Matt Smith though. Yes, they are. But I stopped there because I just couldn't grasp Peter Capaldi or the woman. I just couldn't get around that. So.
I got you. I only watched the season 1 of the reboot, and you know the girl that was in it. It was the Christopher Eccleston, I think, was Doctor Who in the first episode, and he was with Billie Piper. Was the girl? She's from my hometown, and my cousin.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, she's from my hometown, Billie Piper. She used to be a little pop singer. She had a song called "Because We Want To." What do you want to run around in a crowd? Because we want to. But she ended up kind of being an actress more than a pop performer. But yeah, she's from my hometown, and my little cousin Stefan, he fingered her. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. Next time you watch that particular season of Doctor Who, then you can sort of think that a little bit of my lineage has been in Doctor Who, sort of, to speak. Eternity thought that was funny.
I will. I'll stick with Rory and Amy.
Okay, but that was the only one I watched, but that was quite good. I used to be able to do the dugga-da-dung, 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 and there used to be this.
Oh, very cool.
Did you like that? Woo, woo.
Why aren't you married?
I'm divorced, and God, that's a long story. Women have done me nothing but damage. That's why, you know, like the mouse that runs around the maze to get the cupcake and it keeps getting electrocuted in the end. It thinks, you know what, I don't need the cupcake. I'm just happy to be on my own and lick my own balls. I'm a little bit like that. So occasionally I might go out and treat myself to a wife for a couple of hours. Now and then, but I'm kind of happier alone. But Doctor Who, there's where I grew up, there used to be this huge safari park called Longley, and it was famous because they had lions there for many years. But for a while, it wasn't anything like an Orlando theme park. Don't get excited or anything, but they used to have this little kind of theme park for Doctor Who, and it was really kind of just a couple of shipping containers stuck together. But inside it was really cool because it had like the Cybermen, and it had some of the costumes, and it had the TARDIS and the little dog K9.
Weeping Angels.
I can't remember about those. I used to terrify me as a child. It really did. Davros, the leader of the Daleks, I had so many nightmares about him. Honest to God, it literally was behind the sofa kind of thing. But very cheesy and low budget. What other kind of what about Blake 7? Did you ever happen to watch that one? Another British kind of cheesy sci-fi flick from back in the day. That was kind of
Can't
cool.
say that I did, but our government kind of reminds me of the Weeping Angels. Every time you blink, they seem to be approaching into our business a little bit more and more.
Yeah, well, many times predictive programming is a little bit of I guess one of my things, one of my niches. I did do a whole predictive programming playlist with a whole bunch of movies and stuff that we grew. One of my favorite shows was actually how 1980s cartoons kind of shaped us and prepared us for now. If you remember Inspector Gadget, they had the pads and you had the phone.
Oh,
And
I'm that old.
yeah,
Yes,
well, I think
absolutely. And Star Trek.
Star
Speaking of
Trek,
Star
the
Trek
flip
fans,
phones,
we've
right?
seen
Exactly. So all these kind of
which are a
things,
little obsolete now.
and this is going back to today's time. Yeah, they are obsolete, but they were state of the art. That was what everyone said. Oh my God, it's just like Star Trek. It's just like Star Trek. It's what I said when I got one. It's Star Trek. I think we even started getting the Star Trek ringtone when it rung. You know what I mean? But the 80s cartoons, we even have like real Transformers now. And you know, they have these little drones that are the size of insects and they look like insects. That's just like they had Insecticons, the bad guys. They had these little insect robots, and one of them was a tape recorder, if you remember. And now kind of our phones have become they've become our Walkmans or our boom boxes nowadays. We, you know, when we used to have the big one. Let me show you. Hold on a second. It's
Well,
not
while you're looking,
it's
for
not a
that,
real
I can
boom
do
box,
a
but
huge shout out and
you remember when radios
you.
used to look like that? That's actually a shoebox. But that's what they used to look like. But now our phones, they're like little mini robots that listen to us and drop into us. But yeah, it's kind of so, you know, is it a coincidence that the things we grew up with suddenly sort of come to be real many years later? And the other sort of thing that will make you feel old is Back to the Future and Blade Runner are now in the past. When we were kids, we were growing up. They, you know, when they went to 2015, and Blade Runner was in 2017, I think. They're both in the past now. And that's a little bit disappointing.
It looks like they're rewriting our future, so that's fine.
Yeah, well, maybe I've also had theories about the Mandela effect in Marty McFly. You remember when he went back to the future and he kind of, his mum got the hots for him and he stopped his mum and dad's meeting, but he kind of rewrote history. And when he come back to his present day, everything was different. His dad was a successful writer and things like that. And I've often thought maybe that could be you know, the Mandela effect could be they've time traveled, they've gone back and changed something to see if anyone would notice.
You haven't heard that theory. So there's this theory, we can go down this rabbit trail, that Trump, his uncle, holds all the patents for Tesla's works. And one of those was time travel.
Really?
Did you not know that? Absolutely.
I kind of know that time travel has been something that has been tinkered with. Stranger Things, I think, the Montauk Project, that's where they kind of, after the Philadelphia experiment, they took the further research to Montauk. And Stranger Things, I think, was going to once be called Montauk Stories or something like that before they changed it out. So there's a little bit of truth within the fiction of Stranger Things. But yeah, time travel, I guess, you know, I grew up a little bit with the old H.G. Wells Time Machine and the Morlocks and the Eloi, and loved the idea that he went back in time and just dragged his time machine a few feet over so he wouldn't be encased in the caves and stuff. So when like Back to the Future come out, it's like, oh my God, it's like the Time Machine but in the 80s. And I don't think, probably because they concentrated so much on it being the 80s, there's a better 80s movie. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because they were jumping back in time, they made it as 80s as they possibly could at the time of production, which was 1984, 85, I believe. But yeah, these things have kind of...
I mean, you have to admit there's some things that have happened that are, you have to stop and say, you know, the book 1984.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, we can even go to fan fiction and talk about The Simpsons and all the stuff they've had on their show that mimic real life to the point of absurd. So, I mean, you got to wonder.
Exactly. There's lots to think about. But although I've sometimes wondered if maybe with The Simpsons, this is like real life mocking Do you know what I mean? Maybe these guys really, really like The Simpsons. Hey, wouldn't it be funny if we got together and reenacted one of those scenes? Because it's already there. If it's hard to predict something when it's out in the open. So maybe, you know, fanboys and fan fictions and stuff, they exist in every shape and size. Who's to say that maybe the Sheik of Arabia isn't a Simpsons fan? He's like, hey, Donald, let's pretend. You remember that Simpsons scene? Let's reenact it. People think they predicted it.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg. But I think that, I mean, who would have predicted Trump being president back when that scene was shown on The Simpsons?
I know,
You know,
unless of
plus
course.
the people that were in attendance, unless, like you said, well, and let's take your theory that you just talked about here, and let's take that in regards to what's going on prophetically, because I know a lot of people look at this as, oh my gosh, this is the end times that's written in the Bible and blah, 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 blah. So we take your theory that you just talked about and we do the same thing. So they have a copy of it too.
Exactly.
Are they enacting everything that's written in there just to get us under control and do what they want us to?
Yeah, you know, I've said a couple of times before, he who had...
In hindsight, we will never know.
No, and we might never know. So that was compelling. I could almost talk about nerd stuff with you all night. And maybe that might even be a special night one day. We'll come back and just be nerdy in our pajamas again. Do you know what? I don't know why, somehow. Do you remember the old 1970s Filmation cartoons? I've been watching Journey to the Center of the Earth cartoon and Flash Gordon recently. I don't know why, just sometimes we need to escape.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, just kind of going back to that schoolboy kind of mentality, you know, when you're looking for a little bit of comfort or escape. Sorry, I've got a burp. Excuse me. Baby P, how many burps is that tonight? Yeah, well, when I do my MRE reviews, we kind of judge how good they are on how many burps I give them. There's like usually a burp count in Becky Pamplin, who's out there watching. She actually counts them. Can you believe that? She sat at home one day and watched 32 of my episodes.
She just put a 1 up. Yay.
But she could probably... She's like my super fan. She could probably tell you exactly how many times I've burped and at what minute in each video it occurred on. Andre Nova, give it a 3. Thank you. So sometimes we do burp and swear and curse and have some sort of schoolyard inappropriate humor. And sometimes we do joke about Almel. She's in the crowd, I see out there. Hey Almel, I didn't say hello to you when you come in. We sometimes joke about her in her Tijuana donkey shows. She doesn't have a Tijuana donkey show, Annie, but it does make for light-hearted entertainment at time to time. So that's kind of where we are in that kind of South Parky school of humor most of the time. But you've brought so much class and elegance to the show this evening. Well, yeah, don't get us. Don't.
Well, we're going to need more of her type coming forward.
Yeah, well, that's what
you spoke just a minute ago about, you know, it's nice to get back to family time and family dinners and spending time together. But quite honestly, these families that we have now don't know how to do that. And, you know, I've seen parents freaking out on Facebook because they don't know how to be parents. And they're like, how can they shut the school down? And what am I supposed to do with these kids? And, you know, now they're drinking and who knows what's going to happen. And it's a sad thing to see, especially growing up in my generation where that was a thing. It was all about, we had 3 channels on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. We had family time. We were forced into it, whether we wanted to or not.
No, for real.
Families nowadays have no idea how to coexist together. You know, when the kids are usually in their own bedrooms, the parents mom's in the kitchen or dad's in the kitchen, and one of them's playing, you know, who knows what, dad's watching porn or mom's watching porn, or, you know, we don't know how to even talk to our neighbors, our kids, nobody. And this is a huge social experiment going on right now because we're being forced into it.
Very much so.
Yeah, I mean, we have families that can't give their kid lunch because, you know, either they don't think about it or they don't know how because the school always took care of it. So I mean, it's sad to see.
Very, very much so. I mean, I think that's something that many people have kind of, a guy I kind of follow, Jeff Censored, he's sort of kind of one of the few people that I kind of matches my, not matches my train of thought, but who for me, he nails it when he says something. It's like, you know what, oh my God, yeah, that's it. He kind of really is saying it as he sees it, maybe not with all the answers, but he's calling it right. And the kind of that family value is kind of being programmed out of society now. We have, tablets and phones are raising kids, hey, the kids cry and stick a tablet in them, and they're just at a young age getting used to it. And just yesterday we were chatting about, when we were kids, and most of us are in kind of the same age group here, the sort of boom Generation Xers, maybe even a couple of boomers, but we're all kind of in the same age pool. And we can remember the time that as kids we went out to play, we climbed trees, we chased each other around with sticks, and we come home with blood and dirt and piss and shit on us. Our mum scrubbed us down and sat around with the family, had a cup of cocoa and got tucked into bed. Story that was life for us, but now kids, all this hand sanitizer is doing as much damage as it is good, because people aren't getting an immunity to things. People are too clean, being social distance. I was actually talking to one of the girls at work, the bar manageress, and she said, when she had her kid, she was very surprised that she had an older aunt who had sort of a child later on in life. In the younger girl got chicken pox, and the aunt stuck her, oh my God, let's stick the kids together. I wanted to get it out of her system.
Yes,
and
that was me.
Same thing. I can remember having a chicken pox party, and maybe kind of keeping us apart it's lowering our immunities. Maybe we need to be a little bit closer and get a little bit intimate to build an immunity to whatever it is, trying to protect ourselves. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think before we went on air, I said we need to maybe, this is a type of day that pajamas, black and white movies, Coco, the black and white movies had to be about murders on trains, though. It's that kind of a day for me.
Oh, absolutely.
But you said, or have sex. I mean, maybe in between movies. I've only got a recharge of,
Well, that's our next big crisis that we're going to have is in 9 months. Our hospitals are going to be inundated. You better learn how to home delivery right now, because if not, you're not getting into a hospital.
I don't think there's
what
much.
Did they call? They said in what 20, let's say 18 years from now, these kids are going to be called the Corona teens or something. Right.
I got you, because every generation has a and I've already seen
Generation X or
Generation Corona, and I've already seen like some of the memes, like me in 20 years when I see a Charmin commercial, me in 20 years when someone offers me a Corona, and it's like Vietnam veterans and stuff. But again, another thing from back in the day, we only had toilet paper for special occasions or a visitor. The rest of the time we had cut up newspaper. If your aunts and uncles and the family were coming over for Sunday tea, the fancy roll went out. But if it was regular, just rip up the newspaper. In fact, don't throw your chip paper away. You can use that afterwards, son.
Or the Sears catalog.
Sears catalog.
Yeah, the Sears catalog.
There's
not
ways.
The Christmas edition one. No, not the Christmas one.
No, because the toys.
Montgomery Wards or. Yeah, the toys. Oh my gosh.
That was almost better than Christmas, getting the Christmas catalog, just the toy section. And then when you got to like maybe 12
your
or
parents gave you a pencil or crayon and said, here, circle whatever you want. You were gone for hours, days, weeks.
That was the internet back then, right? That was the best thing. And then
absolutely.
And when you were a boy and you got to a certain age, then always the lingerie section got a little bit interesting for some reason. But yeah, I don't. The catalogs, they aren't. Back then, this is another thing. Well, I was going to say, you were talking about babies. I was going to make a little bit of an inappropriate joke, because most people today have been so fueled by pornography that's the last place they would usually deposit their seed. If you watch porn, that's like the last place they usually leave it, and it's a little bit, goodness, let's, back in the day, I mean, we're all grown-ups here, pornography was something that was a little bit taboo or sacred. Maybe you had a magazine that you hid away, or heaven forbid, if you had a videotape, that was like the holy grail, and you didn't even know where it come from. It just got passed to you, and then you would pass it to. You never had a pornographic VHS?
Oh my God, that's like sharing vibrators or something. No, I never did.
I guess it was more of a boy thing, but again, back then it was a little bit of a thing amongst boys. Maybe, hey, here's a magazine, I finished with this one.
Sure.
But it was a little bit sacred. It was a little bit taboo. It's something, maybe Valentine's Day. Hey, sweetheart, let's put a dirty film on, get a bottle of champagne, and that was it. But now it's kind of like a daily occurrence. I've even worked with people, and I'm not gonna lie, it's actually a gay guy who sometimes at work has to disappear for 10 or 15 minutes, then come back smiling and a little bit rosy faced. And this isn't a recent employee. This is.
Do you wash your hands? And you're thinking, oh, I coughed and I have coronavirus or something, and no.
But goodness, then that's not, I just realized what you said then. Sorry, you're now, unless my mind's really in the gutter and I misinterpreted. But anyway, that's what I was getting at. Probably in 9 months, there won't be any babies. It'll be everywhere else, but in the fallopian tubes, making its way to.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
it is good source of protein, so.
But that's what they say. How did a Catholic girl clench her throat? Not clench her throat. When you have a sore throat, I can't remember the punchline. It was an old one, but that was something about Catholic girls not wanting to waste it. Anyway, Kathy, I was going to call you Catholic Kathy or something. Then I don't know. I got a little bit sidetracked. This has been very, very whimsical and entertaining, Annie. How long have we been going for? 1 hour and 11 minutes. So listen, I don't really want to keep you captive any longer because we're already captives of our own devices. So. Unless you want anything else to say, should we let you get on with what your rest of your life or evening, rather?
Yes, I will. I will get out of your hair.
No, you're not in my hair, but
basically, just pay attention to what's going on out there. Take everything with a grain of salt. Don't freak out. Make sure that you've got at least, I would say at this point, 3 weeks. I know FEMA and everyone else says, oh, you need to have, but we're seeing the information that's coming out in the news pertaining to this virus change basically every day. So if you don't already have 3 weeks worth of supplies at home, you're already behind the curveball. So don't panic. Just get what you need. Talk to your neighbors. Get to know each other, and slow down and take a deep breath, because we can get through this if we stick together. If we start panicking and everything else, then that's when we get into trouble. From what I've heard chatter-wise, be ready for some kind of lockdown in the city that you live in. If you're in some of the bigger cities, I would expect it to be probably longer. We're at a pivotal point in our history right now, because as an American, I will say that our Constitution has pretty much been trashed. We are still trying to hold on to it and trying to enforce what our forefathers wrote, but that has pretty much been destroyed at this part, because everything that our government is doing right now is unconstitutional. That being said, if what they're telling us is truth, then maybe they are saving us. I don't know. We won't know until this is over with. Like I said, truth is in the hindsight. But yes, a lot of people are probably going to starve, but are they going to starve? It's either that or let the coronavirus take them down. My word of advice: stay calm, listen to what's going on out there, and think about 6 months down the line. If they say this is starting to calm down over this summer, think about this fall. Same with the flu season. You know what happens with, and I'm not comparing this to the flu because they're nothing alike.
But it's just a similarity of the seasonal. Exactly. I think that's very, very, very smart and sound advice.
So, hey, I tried to say this earlier, but I wanted to give you a big thank you I run kind of an underground prepper network, and I had one of my peeps come up to Toronto, and I reached out to you and I said, hey, she was coming up to take care of her grandchildren for a week while her son and his wife had taken a vacation. And, you know, when you're on a foreign city and all of that, it's nice to know if something happens, who to reach out to. And you stepped up to bat for that and gave her, I mean, from what I understand, nothing happened, but you gave her such a sense of peace over the situation that she was able to relax and enjoy the time that she had with her grandkids and whatnot. So I wanted to personally thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a pleasure.
One of the good guys.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well, I just look bad. Wasn't that Jessica Rabbit's thing? I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way. From the Who Framed Roger Rabbit movie.
Beauty is in the butt. Is in the eye of.
Is in the butt. Oh my God! I don't want to look at your Google searching. Yeah. Sharing vibrators and buff stuff. I'm sorry. No. I just wanted to make you giggle before you left. So Annie, you
Google searches.
No, I don't. I'm sure I wouldn't want to anyway. You wouldn't want to see mine. But anyway, Annie, you've been a most wonderful and gracious guest. Probably the most sort of sane and important guest we've ever really had on this show. We almost feel like a real proper news show, as I mentioned before. So thank you very much. I'm sure everyone in the everyone in the chat loved you, and you've got a very wicked giggle there. So until next time, my darling, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence this evening. And until world domination in bear theft comes true, you stay out of trouble.
Mounties.
Don't you worry. Someday, one day.
No, there's no chance of that.
Not any
chance of staying out of trouble. Thanks, love. You guys stay safe out there. I'll see you soon.
You too. Thank you very much, beautiful. Take care. Well, my goodness, guys, wasn't that an amazing call in special guest? As I said, we suddenly feel very, very special and almost semi-professional. So I will be stuffing a couple of meat sticks the way of you, Annie, if you are still watching in the crowd in the chat room. But what a splendid guest. Let me get your chats up, your comments, so I can read what's going on out there and interact with you guys. So that's been a pretty cool show. So so far we're having a bit of fun in this pandemic lockdown series. We brought you Eternity the other day. She's watching, I noticed, in the audience there. We heard about her experience at the coronavirus testing. Now, Meanie Beavers, you're still watching, I hope. Darling, you've got a lot of shit going on. You're in hospital. You went under some testing as well, apparently. Some scary people come into your room with masks on and gowns and things, and they've sent you home or something. Isn't that right? Is she still here? I hope she's still here. Maida Montana thought it was great. Laurie's getting some love from Nancy. Sings a lot. Hi, sorry, got sidetracked. I'm sure you did. I did see Andrew Nova saying he loved this family. With the family loves you, and there she is, Annie, in the group chat there. So we had 20 folks watching that as well, guys. That was pretty impressive amount. We don't know how many are watching that are silent. I'm seeing Shadow Fox. Welcome, buddy. Didn't see you there. Aztec, glad to see you, bud. Have you been behaving yourself? Did you watch my walkabout, buddy? Because I did point out all the strip clubs and Toronto's secret red light district just for you, in case you ever come here. Meanie Beavers, there you are, you're still there. So guys, Meanie Beavers is in a little bit of she's on her own. Her daughter can't come and see her because initially her daughter come in contact with somebody at her workplace, or somebody had come into her workplace that had been infected. And then a little bit like a movie, we're just talking to Annie about how like life is a little bit like fiction at the moment, but a little bit like in the movies, a bunch of people come in, sprayed stuff around. Correct me if I'm wrong, Meanie Beavers, I'm trying to remember from your message. But they come in and sprayed around and advised the staff to go home in self-quarantine for 2 weeks and stay away from anybody who may be a little under the weather. Those of you that don't know, Meanie Beavers is a little bit under the weather. You on some kind of respiratory kind of equipment or something? If you said, excuse me if I'm getting this wrong, but if I can remember, it's something respiratory, if I'm not incorrect, and that is the reason that your daughter can't can't come and see you and comfort you. So Meanie Beavers is one of those examples of people. I mean, please, thoughts, prayers and everything for Meanie Beavers, guys. You know what the Thrift Fam do. It doesn't matter what religion or what belief in. We kind of wish those who are down on their luck or not feeling so good all the best in whatever way we deem is appropriate for our belief system. So all thoughts, prayers, messages, may the force be with you, Meanie Beavers. Low oxygen levels. So she's one of the prime examples, and a little bit why we're doing this each and every day, and why I'm trying to bring you some daily content is she's in it alone, but we're all in this together, and a little bit hopefully through doing little shows like this and coming at you each night, you're not going to feel so alone. And you know, we had some very, very interesting and intelligent stuff from Annie. We had a little bit of fun and laughter and jokes, and you know, this is what we're trying to do, maybe keep each other informed. You're keeping in exactly what Annie said. This is what we've been practicing since it started at the Thrift Fam. You know, let us know what you're seeing on your streets, let us see us, you know, what you're seeing in our cities, and you know, make sure that we're prepped up to you know, our max if we can, or if we can't get to prepped with our max, prepped to is as much as we can possibly can. I hope so, Laurie. For sure. I mean, I don't know, like I say, we might be on lockdown or something at the minute, so I might sort of suggest, I do want to send some stuff out because Trip is going to get his turd in the spicy ramen noodles. I do want to get out Annie some meat sticks, and I do want to get out the Prepper Babies to you guys. I don't know if William's watching. I did get his text and somebody else texted me. So hopefully, you know, maybe let's see what's going on, and if it does die down, I'll get out and mail that to you. So anyway, Meanie Beavers is one that's on her own. Now we've also got our little Nancy down there. She's on her own. We've got a few of you all that don't got family, but you're never alone when you've got the thrift store and the Thrift Fam to keep you company. You know, you've got Facebook group, we've got the Discord, we've got very, very, very many platforms for you to stay in touch. You don't have to be here. And I see a little bit yesterday, you guys, you were rocking the party till the early hours in Discord. So you know, we've got the company, we've got each other. We are a little bit of a community, and sort of all the things that Annie was saying about talking to your neighbors. You guys are our neighbors, even though we're very far apart. We come together each and every day, and hopefully, like you say, we will get through this together one way or not, and quite rightly so. The truth will only come in hindsight, and at the minute no one really has any answers. We can bounce around theories and ideas, but until we do, let's just try and keep a little bit sane, a little bit level-headed, try and relieve as much of the anxiety and panic as possible, and you know, as I said, try and make the most of this, try and have a little bit of fun. So guys, let me know what you're thinking so far of the pandemic daily shows. I did get up very early today for the first time in fucking months, although not true. I did have to get up and do a couple of day shifts, but I didn't technically get up because I didn't actually go to sleep. So it was the first time I got up early. I did wake up around 7:30. Went back to bed for a little while till around 10 o'clock, got myself up, took myself downtown, had a lot of exercise, some fresh air, walked around, brought you a little bit of a shaky but fun and explorative video of the downtown of Toronto. As I said, Aztec, I pointed out all the strip clubs and brothels and massage parlors for you, as well as a few things. Yes, I am sending Annie some neat meat sticks, Andrew, and it's a shame I don't got a nutsack, but I can give her a nutsack to chew on at a later date. She's certainly not going to be a stranger. So I don't know, guys, if you want, maybe you can persuade her if she's still in the thing. Should we put together a little bit of a nostalgia night through this pandemic? If we are going to come daily, that might be something to do. We could maybe get some 80s soundtrack and have another pajama party. Funny enough, actually, there's I don't know if you can recall on some of my walkabout, I think on Sunday, but there's a little movie theater in my neighborhood. Very small, old, tiny movie theater. Doesn't have many seats in there, but sometimes they put on special events. And I seen a poster up there the other day in the door. and they're doing an unlimited cereal buffet in Saturday morning cartoons. And I think you get to go in your pajamas and sit in the movie theater and eat unlimited cereal and watch cartoons. That'd be a pretty cool thing to do. But I was thinking of that maybe because some cartoons actually are available as kind of free domain, so you're not going to get copyright strikes. So maybe I could cast the cartoons to my TV screen and sort of rearrange the phone like this so we could kind of watch them together. Although I don't got cereal, I've only got rations. Talking of which, I think some of you did vote for your which ration you want to see me review next. Sorry, I've got cotton mouth again. Okay, so attorney in Meanie Beavers, I was going to call Maiden then. Attorney in Meanie Beavers, they've got coronavirus stories to tell, and these are people that are telling you firsthand. Not like that one. Did you see the one that had the first coronavirus vaccine? She turned out to be one of those actors that sometimes is required in a crisis. You know what I'm saying, guys? So I'm sure you do. Laurie thinks the live shows are the best. So yeah, Saturday morning cartoons. Maybe we could do that, and maybe if Annie wanted to put her PJs on and get a bowl of cereal and join us for that, we could geek out. But I don't know. As I said, we are making it up as I go along, and this is only the second day actually of I finished work on Monday. I mean, Tuesday and Wednesdays are usually my days off, so it still hasn't really feel like I'm missing out on anything yet, or not being at work. So that'll probably hit in tomorrow when I don't have to go back to work. It'll start feeling a little bit more like a vacation, I guess. At the minute, I'm still kind of in my robotic default disco night and big hair. We could have some fun. We've got maybe, because I think the only night in the near future we can bring the Thrifty Bunch mod round table special event would be tomorrow night. Captain Crunch is good. I do like Captain Crunch. Crunch berries are the best. So yeah, perhaps we could do that. We could set up a cereal. Maybe I can go out and get some cereal before the shops cut down, and some milk, and we can have a cereal and cartoons special. Then I won't have to talk so much. We can just watch the cartoon and talk shit amongst ourselves. How does that sound like an idea? Becky's got 2 big boxes of Crunch berries. I wonder how I can get into the underground prepper community. Wonder if you get a secret ring or a whistle badge or something, or a handshake. Sorry, I just got sidetracked then. I've never had Crunch berries. I don't think I've ever had Crunch berries either. Are they a little bit like Fruit Loops? Shadow Fox, what do you want? Oh, you want a box of the Crunch berries. I don't know if you can get Crunch berries in Canada. The state, Azteca, the state of brand Fruit Loops. I got you. So then I have had them. I don't really like them that much. They taste weird. I don't really eat cereals though. I like Rice Krispies best of all. I don't know why. Simple and easy. Maybe even with just a little bit of cinnamon and sugar on the top. But I do like Captain Crunch. And I remember when I first got to the States, I was all up in the sugar cereals. So they were so cool compared to the boring ones we get in England. The most exciting cereal we've got in England is Frosties, which is what we call Frosted Flakes. And I did hear Annie talk about fish sticks in England. They're called fish fingers, which, you kind of say no more. Cereal was packed with healthy glossites and vitamins and minerals. Yeah, and you were saying something very interesting actually, Aztec, about Whole Foods and how their fresh food is not actually fresh and been stored in freezers for years. He's a little bit like the Heisenberg of gardening. His cactuses are 96.1% pure. It's the end of the world as we know it. We kind of had that joke yesterday, I think, when it kind of started me on a little bit of a rant how I didn't like REM, and then the B-52s, and somehow I got onto a rant where I wanted to beat Ed Sheeran up. But I don't know how that come to be. Sometimes we do go off topic and off on a tangent. So I'm still waiting to see if you guys are so far enjoying this. I brought you quite a lot of content, a ration review yesterday, a live show. I brought you a decent walkabout today, special guests, government employees in their COVID testing experience. Like I say, where else are you getting this stuff on YouTube, folks? Tell me. And not to mention meat sticks and pandemic panty pads. Who was it that wanted that? It was Alias, right? Is she here tonight, Alias? I don't know. What was the jerk saying to you? That's why I don't eat cereals. But sometimes a little guilty pleasure is needed. And we are getting up to an hour and 30 minutes, guys. So probably going to be wrapping it up. I do think it's time for me to have a little smoke. But that was kind of a fun pajama party. Wasn't it funny that we were all in pajamas? And that's kind of something I think maybe, those of us out there like, you know what, we've got some time off work. Let's just sit around in our PJs and wait. Sings, what's going on, darling? What jerk? Was there a jerk? Did we have some weirdo in the chat, or is it somebody else? Haha, he was a German guy. Hello there, Sings a lot. I have been watching the TSP and heard the rumors of your undercarriage. Are the rumors true? That was my German. Made me wish I was part German. Maybe you could get a bit of German in you. Ba-boom ching. And there was a Sings a lot undercarriage joke. So we did manage to get an Elmel Tijuana donkey show joke and some Sings a lot undercarriage banter in there, because it's not a TSP TV live without one of those two. And as I said, we want a little bit of normality around things, and hopefully you guys this is a nice distraction for you, and maybe you've had a laugh. Look at Sings a lot, bah, and when they put the bah, that always reminds me of kind of like the evil kind of bah, if only you knew kind of thing. Shadow Fox, how old do you think? Oh, we're not going to start on how old people. Let's just forget about being old, folks. It doesn't matter. Age is just a number. We're as old as we feel, and I think most of us all inside are a little bit teenage at heart. Wasn't part German. What, he didn't have a part? Never mind. Technik, Fräulein. I'm 93. It's been 83 years. I don't know why I've seen you as that old lady in the Titanic movie. Do you remember when it started and she was there? It's been 83 years. And then they went back in time. And I'm not going to lie, every time Leonardo DiCaprio dies, a motherfucking tear comes into my eye. Every time I see you, I hear you. I'm not going to start singing Celine Dion for you folks, but I was a little bit disappointed about the Taylor Swift organ music. I thought that was going to be kind of a little bit more groovy, but as I said, it was a little bit like the embarrassing vicar. Hey kids. And I remember when I used to go to Sunday school, my mum used to drag me along before she tried to find a rich farmer. I think partly because we left so many churches was because maybe, never mind. But what was I going to say? Yeah, sorry. So we had this vicar, and he used to take the Sunday school, and he was like, "Hey guys, I'm hip down with the kids," and he used to rewrite like church songs to like pop music and sometimes like TV theme tunes, and he used to get very excited about it. I feel 35. Okay, well, just feel as old as you want to feel. Identify as a 35-year-old. That's what all the kids are doing these days. They identify as something else. Just get on board. Identify as a teenager, Nancy. Let's, we don't need to be worrying about how old we are when there are other things going on. I always hated it when the priest played with its organ before Mass. Well, that is the risk you run going to Catholic churches, I guess. The Notebook always tears me up. Are we talking about Titanic? I mean, I was joking. It doesn't make me cry. I will. Okay, good. Look, you called me TSP and not Shah for a change. I wasn't really reading the comments. I was very, very engrossed in my chat with with Annie, it's almost like, when you phone your girlfriend when you're first starting dating, and no, you put up the phone. I put down that. No, you put it down. Let's put it down together. Are you still there? Yeah, I'm still there. Okay, you put it down. You know what I mean? Those days. I'm joking. I'm not Catholic. I know we're all just joking here. Eternity. I know you don't often get to see some of our live shows because of your work schedule. So it's nice to have you in the house. Maybe you can come back and be a guest caller because you've got some interesting stuff to say, and some of the folk thought you were pretty cool during your chat. So we're down to 19 folk. I think we had a couple of Nancy's folk in the chat at one point, didn't we? Earlier, I seen a couple of newbies in the crowd tonight. So anyway, folks, I'm going to think about wrapping this up. I still haven't eaten today. Actually, that's a lie. I had Jamaican patty. Something about the Subway stations. They sell these Jamaican patties. There's something about Subway Jamaican patties in Toronto. It's just good. But anyway, folks, as I said, we are going to be wrapping it up. And I was saying, I think it was the Chilean ration that was, I've come back onto a train of thought that I forgot about earlier. The Chilean ration was winning the next ration to eat. Next review. God, why can't I think all of a sudden? Maybe it's the squished testicle strained all the blood from my brain. It's actually feeling a little bit better now. I'm going to go and Google some funny testicle pictures and just send one to Annie and pretend it was mine. It's been a great show tonight. In fact, it really, really was. I've enjoyed myself tonight. And although we did cover a few important topics and scary things there, I think it was really fun. And Annie, she's just she's like a ray of sunshine, and so very bubbly and full of life, but very, 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 very knowledgeable lady indeed. As I said, I could almost sit and listen to her all day. But thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Judy Bell. We are trying to do our best to bring you a little bit of entertainment, as well as that community spirit keeping us all together. And we're kind of going through this in a little bit, like truth will come out in hindsight, that one day we will get through this. Who knows where we will be, or if we'll even still be a community or a channel or anything in the years to come. But maybe when we look back, just like when we look back at 9/11 and other events of the past, would be, what? Oh my God, do you remember? Yeah, I remember the COVID thing. Yeah, that was crazy. We used to hang out with that YouTuber's channel, the chat room. What was his name? I can't remember. But yeah, you remember that guy? He used to have meat sticks. Yeah, but yeah, we used to watch him. That's what we did through the COVID. Good times. A little bit like the lady in the Titanic. 83 years, and we were watching the TSP TV. Actually, I see it being Nancy, funny enough, on a rocking chair down there in the bayou in the sunset going down, and she's smoking a cob, the corn in the cob pipe, and tell us another story, Annie Nancy. He goes, well, it was back in the year 2020 when that old coronavirus was going around, and that old President Trump was in charge of the White House. Anyway, guys, sorry, you know where I was going at. But anyway, people were dropping like flies, and the bio was stacked up with bodies 30 deep in those days at the darkest period of the COVID virus. But it was TSP TV that kept us sane and through it. I had to eat the dog to stay alive, but without that Fido meat in me, I wouldn't be here to tell you that story, little one. And without TSP, God bless his soul. Without him, we'd have never made it. And on that note, guys, my grandpa used to eat a corn pipe. You've seen the picture, right? The sun going down and maybe the wind blowing in a hoo-hoo of an apple in the background. In the year 2020, yeah. You got it, Andrew. Something else I was thinking, funny enough, my God, just before it comes on night, because this is only day 2. Normally, sometimes you do get an extra bonus Wednesday night live show, as well as the weekly Tuesday. And we've only been going daily for a couple of days, so I've still got 12 days ahead. If it does end in 12 days' time, we can go back to work. But something I was thinking, we're talking about maybe a quiz show, or let's try and play a board game. Someone said Yahtzee. But I had an idea. Why don't we try and come up with some kind of role-playing game, a little bit like Dungeons and Dragons, but instead of having like characters like elves in I don't know, wizards and stuff, in dragons, maybe they could just be us and we could set ourselves in some kind of fictitious scenario, like a zombie apocalypse perhaps, and kind of make it up as we go and get some dice. And I don't know, you see where I'm going, but you guys could watch and, okay, Nancy, do you want to fight the zombie or do you want to run away? Throw higher than a 12 or to fight, lower than 11, you're going to get killed. Do you know where I'm coming from? That kind of thing. Okay, Nancy doesn't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, but some of you out there are geeky enough to know about. See, Eternity gets it. Nancy, we should have kept Annie around a little bit longer. I think she'd all been up in that shit. She is a nerd at heart. And maybe, guys, if you are in her Facebook group, go and tell her how much you enjoyed her and how much you thought her and TSP make a dynamic duo. I could see us a little bit like John Travolta and Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction. Although I hope I don't have to stab her with adrenaline because she OD'd on heroin. That'd be fun, nonetheless. Maybe a little bit like Bonnie and Clyde. But yeah, you know where I'm coming from. Maybe we can come up with some sort of game and entertain ourselves one day. Maybe Saturday, because I'm going to be off all weekend. Maybe Saturday would be Saturday Serial and Cartoon Day. Let me know your ideas, guys. Bounce them around in Discord. You're kind of helping me make this up as much as I make it up. You're part and parcel of why we're here. You're in it. We're in this together. Let's throw our ideas on the table. As a little bit, we're not really out to look to go viral and get hundreds and thousands of subscribers. We just want the right subscribers, the like-minded folks, the Yous, the Nancys, the Darcys, the Almels, the Becky P's, the guys, the ATNs, the Trips, the Aztecs, the Jaspers, wherever he may be. You guys, you make this what it is, and sometimes I do try to go the extra mile just to bring you somebody very special and interesting like Annie tonight, and it really was a great show, I must say. So guys, hey, we be down on the bio, you all. Sounds like a cool game. See, Ninja Prepper, we could do it. You could be a character. So okay, CNA, you're in the aquarium shop. What do you want to do? Do you want to bunker down or do you want to escape out the back exit? What am I? Chopped liver? No, Eternity. We give you a very special place in TSP lore. If you don't know, it was a conversation with Eternity, aka Michelle, a little while ago during a big hoax called Project Hot Musket. It was Hot Musket, right? But anyway, it was there that we were a little bit concerned. There was potential cause for concern at that time, and it was she's being in Canada. We somehow got talking to each other, and somehow TSP TV, or the Thrift Store Prepper, was spawned from that conversation, and was the first person who I kind of advised to check out the dollar store in terms for your prepping. And now I think you quite regularly go to the Dollarama and stuff to get your preps now. Please say yes, even if you don't. Lie, make it look as though I did at least influence some person. But yeah, you got to give a little bit of thanks to Eternity, because she kind of told me, my God, you need to let others know this. Write a post. So rather than write a post, I made a channel. The post would have been long and forgotten about had I done a post, but the YouTube channel, here we are, here you are, and she absolutely does. And I hope some of you guys out there also, the little $20 top-ups, and maybe you're already preppers, but a little bit of thrifty prepping and thrift store prepping and dollar store prepping is been incorporated into your practices, and certainly hope that your prison roaming is also part of your prepping practice nowadays. Maybe we will get Annie back probably before the pandemic's out. Maybe if she enjoyed herself tonight, we'll come back and we'll try and have some meat stick fun, pajama party, ladies night. I don't know, we're making it up as we go along. Tomorrow's another day, guys, but I do need to figure something out to eat for myself this evening. In fact, tomorrow when I'm freed, are you back at work tomorrow? Thank God I know who you are now. Tap is like John Travolta showing her hoe to dance like this. I'll hit up the Dops for some dish soap. Fantastic. Good make a video eternally. Do a little $20 a top up or something while you're out, and drop it in the clubhouse. Show you what you're doing. Or maybe just take some pictures of what's going on in the Dollarama where you are, because I think these are places that really do get overlooked, guys, in the pandemics. Everybody, all these crises and panic buying, like you've seen, everyone's going to the big stores, but the dollar stores, sometimes people don't. No, I'm back at work Sunday. Okay, so you know, guys, if you can still get out and about, and as we said, it is looking likely that there's a very good chance it's going to be sooner than later that we are going to find ourselves in lockdown. So I kind of got myself out and about today while I still could, because we don't do. Dollar Tree was great today, but no TP. I want to escape viruses floating down the river on the TSP panty liner when we play the game. So yeah, maybe we'll figure it out. Maybe you can download like you know, the Dungeons and Dragons kind of guidelines and scripts online. I'm not really exactly that sure how you used to play it properly. I've got a little bit of an idea, but maybe that might be something to be fun. It could go on for indefinitely. Cooking, well, I do try to get away from cooking because that's what I do for a profession, Andrew, but I'm still not deciding whether I'm going to start cracking open the cans in the pantry or just open up one of the out-of-date cases of MREs. But I do got rations to review. I don't really want to eat all of my international rations in the next couple of weeks. I want to kind of save them, you know, for reviews over the coming weeks and months. I mean, as it stands at the minute, if I did one international ration review a week, I've got enough for the, what have I got, 8 at the moment, so that's enough for the next 2 months, and hopefully maybe I'm gonna hit up Safari Man for some more. But with everything that's going on at the minute, who knows what's going to be locking down next, and you don't want to be having stuff getting lost in the mail. So Shah, okay everybody, let's all give a token Shah to our favorite Cajun, Nancy down there, bless her. I think we should, like, Nancy would be like a lucky rabbit's foot, that we should all rub her for luck. How about Grey Man? And what's that for? The name of the game, Andro? Or maybe we have a Grey Man special episode, I don't know. So did those 2 girls that were here yesterday, the 2 M's, what were their names? There was Mac and Cheese and Mary Jane, but her name was Mary Jane, but she didn't use Mary Jane. Shah. In my town, we have a normal supply of stuff you can order. Yeah, I often wondered that, like in all the panic, people going to the stores, why didn't people just put it on? Yeah.
So the supermarkets.
Hold on, Roger's back with some information. Roger.
Supermarkets, most of them are completely out of eggs. And 90% out of milk, just the high grade, expensive shit for the most part.
Right.
And they're not getting shipments until next week.
My goodness. And where did you go? Metro? Freshco. Oh, that's up by the Crossways, right? That one.
I went to that one this time. There's another one down by Gladstone.
Right. Well, oh my goodness. So there you go. You hear a little update from Roger that the stores are empty.
The one in Parkdale is even more barren than the one up there.
Really?
I called the one in Parkdale, and they told me, no, we don't got much here. And the guy up there said, no, we got enough. I went up there, and they got most things, but when it comes to things like cheap canned goods, cheap cereals, and milk and eggs, they're all out.
Really? So you heard that? They're out of canned goods. My goodness. Well,
the cheaper ones, not everyone.
Okay, so some of the cheaper ones.
The pastas and the tomatoes and the beans.
Oh my goodness, maybe I'm going to have to go out tomorrow and have a little look for myself, see if I can get some footage. So there you go, Roger bringing us an update from Toronto that stores aren't getting deliveries until next week. So thanks for that, Roger. Oh, I think he's gone. So anyway, guys, on that note, let's wrap this show up for tonight. Let's not drag it out longer than we have to, because we are going to come back tomorrow. I did mention that I did wake up early today, so maybe we might try and do a coffee with tea, short and sweet live show tomorrow, see if there's any news or anything that of interest in the morning. But don't hold your breath, it might not happen. To see how I feel when if I sleep tonight. So yeah, a Roger report, that was good. It's all kind of come into place. We need kind of like some dramatic news. Let me see if I can find some dramatic news music on YouTube. Hold on, folks. Dramatic news. Fuck me, it comes straight up. Dramatic news music. Let's see what we've got. News background music. There's only one, they're all deleted. Let's see what this sounds like. Here we are at TSP TV with a Roger report. Over to our anchor, Annie Burdell. Okay, guys, so we're going to play out with the dramatic music. I can't see your comments anywhere, but we did have a show that almost sounded semi-professional tonight. Wonderful guest. Again, thank you for gracing us with your presence, Annie Burdell. If you are still watching, although she's probably cracked open a whiskey and is lying face down in her pajamas now. I don't mean that, but if you are, darling, thank you very much for watching, for being our special guest tonight. You guys, thank you very much for joining us. This has probably been the most fun we've had in a long time on one of the live feeds. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to eat. Don't forget Discord if you guys want to go and hang out and chat some more after party hours stuff. And as I said, we'll see you tomorrow. Watch for the morning for maybe a coffee with tea episode. Till then, guys, Shit Video Productions signing out. Till the next time, keep it thrifty. Good night, guys.